Just last week, I complained about Music Friday being a very weak Music Friday. But this week, J. Cole surprise dropped an album that was so crazy that Lil Yachty's group album got overshadowed. Lil Wayne and Young Thug's song got overshadowed. And Bryson Tiller's first project in years got overshadowed by Jermaine Cole, by this controversial album. So in today's video, we are going to dissect the brand new J. Cole album, and more importantly, this Kendrick diss that is on the album. But before we do that, get you some cranberry juice, some Cheerios, or just your favorite snack. With that being said, let's get right into this video. I'm going to give you a really quick brief summary of this album before we get into the meat of this video, which is going to be the Kendrick Lamar diss. So this album had some pretty good flows, some greater beats, and a variety of songs here like Fever I really enjoyed. It was kind of J. Cole trying to sing, maybe a little bit inspired by Drake with this dance beat. He also got Ab Soul on Pie, which by the way, that's Kendrick's boy. How could you do this, J. Cole? We need more Ab Soul and Kendrick. But realistically, it's not going to be that deep, and I think that Ab Soul and Kendrick Lamar will definitely continue to make songs together. But I'm not gonna lie, also a lot of these songs are a little bit longer, like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and I think it definitely drags it out a little bit more than I would have enjoyed it to do. And he also, in this album, kind of talks about not retiring exactly yet, and he still has a lot more in him, but he simultaneously talks about the Fall Off coming out very soon. And it makes me think whether he's going to do more of a feature artist role like Andre 3000 from Outkast. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think that would be incredibly horrible, because J. Cole's very known for his incredible penmanship on another person's verse, like one of the greatest feature artists of all time in my opinion. Also on this album, he sampled Meat Canyon, which is a fellow YouTuber, which I thought was incredibly funny, on Rabbit Season. And I even with that, I still think these beats are incredible. He used the Conductor Williams beat at the end of the Kendrick diss, which I really enjoyed. And overall, the beat selection here was very memorable, and I think I'm going to definitely go back and re-listen to this album a bunch more times before I can fully digest exactly what happened. Overall, I give this new J. Cole album, Might Delete Later, a 7.5 out of 10. And let's get right into this Kendrick Lamar verse now, which is arguably the biggest part of this album that kind of contributed to where it stands as an album for me. But with that being said, we get into this Kendrick Lamar diss where he starts off incredibly fast. He talks about, I got a phone call that says somebody was dissing. You want some attention, it comes with extensions. Which is obviously about Kendrick Lamar. I mean, you really can't avoid that. It's definitely about Kendrick Lamar. And people brought up the fact that the attention extension bar was similar to Kendrick Lamar's on Nostalgia, which was a feature verse on Pusha T's album. He also talks about his friend who was saying that he would pull a gun on Kendrick Lamar essentially. And he was also bringing up the fact that Kendrick Lamar said something similar in his Like That diss, where he was like, bro, you look silly having people shoot for you. And he's saying that he would be the one to do it. So, realistically, you think J. Cole would do that? Probably not. But I think it's definitely something interesting that they talk about in this competition for two disses. And he also brings up the fact in this song that this is definitely not the end of this, like, back and forth that they're having right now, because if Kendrick Lamar wants to reply to this one, then he has even more. And Kendrick Lamar was talking about J. Cole replying to him, so bro, we're gonna see a lot more tension between these artists, the big three, which is very interesting to me. He also talks about very clear, he's saying that Kendrick Lamar, his first album was a classic, your last stuff was tragic, your second stuff puts people to sleep but they gassed it, your third stuff was massive, and that was your prime. And then he says that he's coming back pretty much, and he's like hitting his peak right now as we speak. But I also don't think it's very true that Kendrick Lamar's, any of his albums are very boring, and I find it very ironic because people often know J. Cole to be a very boring artist. And I can't really tell if he's talking about his first album being Section 80 here, because if he's talking about his first album being Section 80, then that means his second album would be Good Kid, Mad City. And that definitely did not put anybody to sleep. That album was beautiful. He said your third stuff was massive, and that was your prime. And I mean, I can see that To Pimp a Butterfly is my favorite album by him, and I also put that at number 1 of all of the rankings of these artists, as you guys probably seen the video. If not, then you should check it out. You know, it's a pretty good video. But with that being said, I think J. Cole sounded delusional here, because in no way was Good Kid, Mad City boring, or even To Pimp a Butterfly, which you could argue people say was like that big boring album, which is overhyped, which I also disagree with. I think that album was a masterpiece, but people bring that narrative a lot. He also brings out the fact that Kendrick Lamar uploads the least amount of music from all these people. He says he's averaging one hard verse like every 30 months or something. He also talks about the fact that he's only dropped like 3-4 albums in 12 years, and yeah, that's fair enough, but quality over quantity, J. Cole. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, J. Cole drops some quality works, but the level of artistry that Kendrick Lamar has definitely takes time. And if he really wanted to, we hear a lot of these unreleased songs by Kendrick Lamar. He could just keep dropping slap after slap, but he doesn't choose to do that. He chooses to keep only his masterpieces to release, and that's honestly fair enough. He also brings up the fact that Kendrick Lamar has short arms, so he can't box with J. Cole. And probably J. Cole is right. J. Cole would probably slap the goofy out of Kendrick Lamar. I'm not gonna lie to you, but bro, at the end of the day, I think Kendrick Lamar is the better artist, and I don't think that this comeback was nearly as strong, but I think that J. Cole could definitely have something in the chamber for Kendrick Lamar if he decides to release another diss track or anything that mentions J. Cole. And I definitely think that Kendrick Lamar is the type of person to release something else. I'm also very surprised that J. Cole said something before Drake did, because Drake's like a very I'ma get you back person, and J. Cole is not. J. Cole is a very humble person normally. But speaking of humble, J. Cole delivers one of the corniest bars of all time after he says, "I don't want to smoke this man because I mess with him, but push comes to shove on this mic, I will humble him." And this reminds me of the memes that I kept seeing in Drake's comment section on how he was going to release some Kendrick Lamar, more like Kendrick Lamar. And I was just thinking about all those videos that I was seeing where it's like AI generated Drake's voice of him making joke disses about Kendrick Lamar. And with that being said though, that's pretty much it on this album and this track. Let me know how you guys felt about this. Do you think that J. Cole is one up on Kendrick Lamar right now? If so, leave a comment below. Let me see it. I'll read it, and I'll probably disagree with you, but definitely be interesting to see. I love you all very much. I'm conflicted, and I'm out. Peace.